Heath.
Like a fat kid atop a slide, we have so much potential energy.
You're milking that one for as much as you can get out of it.
I don't know what you're talking about. That was a off-the-dome improv opener.
You were just emboldened because I thought it was so impressive when he whipped it out at game day today.
Audio listener, I'm not wearing a belt, but if you were, I would tighten it because we got a killer episode of Mobius Tubes.
This is episode 98 of Mobius Tubes.
0 gifts accepted from Janice.
Oh, I have an update on that.
Oh, God.
We're recording on January 14th of 2024. Happy New Year.
Shut up. This is not the first episode of the first year.
It's the first time we've recorded this year.
Oh, okay. Sure.
Hey, guess what, Heath? As we were saying, I'm now the proud owner of Love Is All Around.
Oh, God.
And I fully intend to play it. The only reason I don't have a big steamy update about Love Is All Around playing it with Samantha is because we were just saving it for closer to Valentine's Day to be in the season.
It's not pornographic.
No. We looked it up on the tags on Steam. There is 0 nudity in this game. This is just a wholesome, romantic game.
Mass Effect had more nudity than this game.
This is the live action dating sim with Asian models.
Yeah.
Actresses. But yeah, Samantha's jazzed, as am I. And I will probably have more to say next episode.
Yeah, we will make sure to get you, audio listener, our ranked Valentine's Day games for you and that special someone.
Yeah, we'll have a tier list.
Or for you to play one-handed. Chris, what's on your docket? I have 2 games to talk about.
I also have 2 games to talk about.
Great.
One of them could be a Valentine's Day game because it requires a cooperative partner. Samantha and I finished A Way Out together.
That's fun.
Yes, this is the Prison Break game.
Hazelight.
From Hazelight Studio, run by Joseph Fares. This was their first outing at creating a mandatory cooperative game.
Brothers.
That was a single-player game.
A single-player cooperative game.
Right. And the reason I circled back to play A Way Out was just because It Takes Two, their second hit at this formula, impressed me so much last year.
Hit understates it. It was game of the year.
Yeah, a dark horse winner in 2021. And it sold really well. So,
did you enjoy the asynchronous multiplayer of Samantha in the basket and you push her into the restricted area in the laundry?
I did like that. You triggered one of my verbal pet peeves, Heath. We're going to talk about gaming pet peeves later this episode, but you used the word asynchronous when you meant asymmetrical.
Oh, I said asynchronous?
Yeah.
Well, you could have been doing it at a different time.
She left the room.
You could have been in the bath. Like, you could have been washing up.
No.
Wait, so is there any asymmetrical asynchronous games?
Ooh, right off my head, I can't think of any.
Maybe if one person in Death Stranding was the deliverer and one person was the box.
Get Hideo Kojima on that pronto.
I'm sure he already is.
Anyway, A Way Out. This is the game where you play as you and your partner, of which you must have a partner, play as convicts Leo and Vincent as they try to find their way out of jail. And I liked it. I went in with admittedly lower expectations than It Takes Two. It impressed me less in every aspect except for the story. I liked the story of A Way Out a little bit more than It Takes Two. Now remind me, Heath, you and Bailey got about halfway through this game,
We
right?
made it to the house.
Oh, okay, the farmhouse.
Yeah.
And what do you
Just
know?
the 2/3
what
mark.
derailed you?
Apathy.
Apathy. Interesting. Because for me, my impression of A Way Out was this game got better and better the more you played.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
As soon as you get through the opening couple chapters, it just continues to ramp up from there, I found. In the story department, in the variety of gameplay segments you try to tackle.
Vincent was the hot-headed, suave trickster convict. So obviously that was Samantha.
It was Samantha.
And the other guy
Vincent
is the more introverted planning contemplative convict, which
Right.
was Chris.
Lower energy, he was a banker. That was me. I like that you're presented at the very first menu select screen. You get the biography of the two characters.
Oh, do you?
So you can kind of like assign them to the more appropriate gameplay partner.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what we did. Yeah, Samantha, real hothead, that one. Maybe a niche thing that impressed me the most was its dedication to inventive camera angles.
Yeah. Laundry basket.
The game, you play it with a partner. It's a game where you always, this is the same of It Takes Two, even if you're not playing on the couch next to each other.
Potentially asynchronous if you are on the toilet.
You always see the game split, usually vertically. So you're playing on the left, your partner's on the right. But the game has some fun and gets creative with changing how it divides up the real estate of the screen. If one character is doing the main primary action at the moment,
If I'm over here distracting the guard,
it'll at times have 80% of the screen dedicated to just Leo if
Right.
he's the main focus. And then Vincent is just a tiny little sliver over there.
Right.
Or there's a certain part later in the game where there's an assassin after you.
an assassin.
During the escape sequence where Vincent and Leo are trying to avoid taking stray bullets, you've got three perspectives on the scene. The assassin coming for you, Vincent and Leo.
Oh.
And you can like see different angles of the room based on each of their different perspective. It felt very movie, very big cinema.
Oh, and you know Joseph Ferris loves the cinema.
He can't get enough of those Oscars. Oh, I just thought one amusing thing to me was it took me a shockingly long amount of this game's runtime to realize it was set in like the 70s.
Yeah, the cars are a dead giveaway.
Yeah, I assumed going in it was just like a contemporary Prison Break story, but no, it's a bit of a period piece.
I was gonna say it could take place during modern day, but then again, like everyone with phones could just snap a pic of these guys, and then the 5-0 would be on them.
Right. But in conclusion, I don't think the narrative in A Way Out is going to be winning any awards anytime soon, but I have to say I really did like the narrative twist at the end. I especially liked it because of how intrinsically linked it was to the mechanics of the game.
Do they pull a Splinter Cell conviction blacklist?
What happens in Splinter Cell Conviction Blacklist?
Did I use all those right words?
Get them in the right order.
Okay, blacklist was the wrong word.
Oh,
Splinter
okay.
Cell conviction, at the end of your co-op mission, you guys, a job well done. You hop aboard the Black Ops plane and you fly back to not America. And then each of you individually get the message to kill the other one.
Whoa.
And then it's a series ending 1v1.
I will say no more when it relates to A Way Out, but I can tell you off air, Heath.
Yeah.
And yeah, overall, A Way Out, I liked it more than I expected to. It Takes Two is still the GOAT as far as mandatory co-op games go, where I'm concerned. But A Way Out is a worthy.
Is Portal 2 in the running for that?
Oh, that is pretty good. There is that co-op campaign in Portal 2.
Bailey and I put just as many hours into that as we did A Way Out.
Maybe I should try that again with Samantha. Last time I played it was with Thomas.
Yeah.
Cool. A Way Out, it gets a thumbs up from Chris. I thought the critical consensus led me to believe that this game was going to be like way worse than It Takes
it was
Two.
good.
But it was pretty good.
Yeah. It's probably as worthy of Game of the Year as It Takes Two.
Oh, sorry. One final point of praise. I meant to lump this in with the cool camera angles discussion
We'll
topic.
splice
but
it in.
Yeah, we'll splice it in. And I was also super impressed by the hospital escape sequence. Very smooth camera panning transitions going from character to character as they both got their time in the spotlight.
That was cool. Almost as cool as, is there an assassin in this game? And that'll tie right into...
And that'll perfect. Heath, you slam dunk.
All right, can I talk about... Okay, audio listener, wake up. It's time for Heath to talk about the games he's been playing.
The first game Heath has to talk about in 2024.
I opened up Mobile Suit Baba.
Oh, you've done it.
The Baba is you created Into the Breach love letter.
Yes, from the developer of Baba Is You.
Boy, that is just more Baba.
Oh, so it's 80% Baba, 20% Into the Breach.
It is Into the Breach in camera angle only, it feels. Boy, that is. So Baba Is You thrives on its fun puzzles. The core appeal of Baba, where it'd be like, water is stop, flag is win. In Mobile Suit Baba, you're not making any more sentences in this game. You'll maybe knock the is out from a phrase to win the level. But for the most part, it is each of your little mechs have different movement, different attacks. They can all push an enemy, so to speak, one square. It's up to you to pick the right team, very Into the Breach. It doesn't have the one more game appeal that Into the Breach did. It's too strong of a Baba appeal where you have to really love the little, maybe like coffee table puzzle micro entertainment that it offers.
Okay.
Because if you play like 9 levels of that and then the 10th one shows up and you're like, I don't know if I'm going to make it to the final island like I would Into the Breach. And like the story is adorable.
Oh, there's a story in here.
Yeah. Oh, the skulls are all talking to a mysteriously shrouded figure, while Baba's only dialogue is Baba, Baba, Baba. And then the Commander Kiki will be like, that's right, we need to go. If you liked Baba Is You and are dying for more, how could you be dying for more? No one has ever beaten Baba Is You.
That game seems very comprehensive, yeah.
Yeah. Just try to finish Baba before you spend $4 on this. And if you're looking for more Into the Breach, play Aegis Rim 13 Sentinels.
I may have a solution for listeners looking for more Into the Breach.
What?
But we'll hold that for a little bit later. I have questions for you, Heath.
Please.
Do you think the developer behind Baba Is You was sandbagging this game a little bit? Because it didn't get a Steam release. You had to buy it on itch.io.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
A more obscure storefront. You'd think they're back with their new game. They'd put it on all the different platforms. Does it have the feeling of a side project?
It's like a demake. Whereas Baba Is You has indie pixel art, but still enough of a indie polish to get a release. This lacks the polish. This is a whole A's worth. A meaning like
triple A,
double A. An A is missing in. You would have to hire some more Baba devs just to get this to release quality. And even then, I think it was all he wanted to do was put a fun spin on the original game. I could totally have seen this as DLC for Baba, but it would just have required more dev time, more art, just to zhuzh it up.
Right.
Because the overworld map is even more bare bones than Baba's overworld map, I think. Yeah.
I see. You said you get to pick your squad of guys who drop a la Into the Breach.
There's Kiki, me, Chumbawamba. I forget what these guys are.
Is it a big roster?
A few of them can rush attack a guy from very far away. A few of them can lob a guy, and on impact it bounces the 4 cardinal directions. Yeah, it's got all your Into the Breach familiars.
Cool.
On a smaller scale, and the music is trite.
And Into the Breach was already on a small, compact scale. So to go even smaller.
Yeah. This is appealing to just the very center of the Venn diagram.
Okay. Do you think this game is a work in progress? Will it be getting big updates?
Only if what's Hemipuli? What's Baba's dev's name? You'll see it again if Mobile Suit Baba takes the world by storm, and then it makes perfect sense to throw more assets into making it a commercial entity. But
sure.
Until now, it's I made this fun level. Let me send it to you through Dropbox.
Okay, so very bare bones.
Effectively, yes.
Very cool. I've got one more game I've been playing.
Let's hear it.
It's been the main event for me in 2024 so far. I've been playing a certain strategic card game based on the Marvel IP that happened to release in 2022.
Midnight Suns.
That's right. I'm playing Marvel's Midnight Suns.
Oh my God.
So this was famously the game that when I said I was excited about, Heath mistook it for the other 2022 released strategic Marvel card game, Marvel Snap, and sent him down a 100-hour tangent. That was hilarious.
Dude, apparently Midnight Suns is really good.
I'm here to confirm Midnight Suns is really good. I love it.
Because...
Who are your sources?
Oh, Pat Stares At.
Okay.
Just talking about the dialogue you get to have with the characters and going to places that the movies never go, like Tony's alcoholism.
Okay.
Have you gotten that far? Who's your favorite character?
There's certainly some Tony Stark drama going on, but haven't touched on the alcoholism yet. Where do I begin with this? I'm pretty deep in.
What's the name for? Midnight Suns?
Midnight Suns is an organization you're working with.
That's some 13 Sentinels.
These are like C-tier Marvel characters who are part of the Midnight Suns.
Oh, it's like Guardians of the Galaxy.
We've got Magic. We've got Blade.
Yeah, Blade.
We've got Ghost Rider. They're all part of the Midnight Suns.
Huh.
And they have to team up with the Avengers, the faces you know, to put a stop to Lilith, this demon lady.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the premise of this Marvel story. But let's be honest, I'm here for the strategic, sweaty card combat.
Not the romance?
You know, you get to play a little matchmaker, but you don't get to bump uglies with anybody. You play as create a character named the Hunter, and I guess Marvel didn't want you kissing their intellectual property.
Cowards.
Cowards.
I'm already making out with Mickey Mouse on a daily basis. What?
I'm going to get into why I think Midnight Suns is great. I have to say it wasn't love at first sight for me. I think the opening hours of this game would have benefited from an editor to trim some fat, because this game has a lot to teach you, and it was a lot of stop and start. Probably for the entire first 6 to 7 hours I was playing, it was like, okay, here's the card combat. There's a lot of mechanics to introduce you to. I'm cool with that. And that was all tutorialized. But then it keeps sending you back to your like home base, the Abbey, which is set in Salem, Massachusetts. And it teaches you about all of the social interactions you can have with the cast and how you pop open like booster packs of new cards. Tony Stark is in charge of that. Doctor Strange is in charge of the XCOM style research. Oh, I forgot to mention, this game is developed by Firaxis of XCOM fame, and its XCOM roots show through. But it's layering all these systems. Oh, the training yard and how you can like build your relationship with these characters. And then it got to the point of comedy when, once again, it had ground all of my forward momentum to a halt to teach me about exploring the grounds around the Abbey and collecting mushrooms and resources so that I can do crafting. And then as soon as it was done tutorializing the exploration component of this game, a pop-up comes up that says, oh yeah, this entire exploration segment, it's totally optional. You never have to engage with it ever again. It's like the developers knew they were layering on one big subsystem too many. And they're like, let's just make this optional if players don't want to bother. So maybe things could have been a little more streamlined in the introduction process. But once I powered through it and know how to play Marvel's Midnight Suns, I'm having a blast. In many ways, Marvel's Midnight Suns is the anti-Persona. And
yeah, you beat me to it.
What do you think I mean by that?
Just the S-links, all of your friends.
Yes, there's a heavy social element in this game that's presumably ripping right out of Persona. But what I mean by the anti-Persona is that my relationship to the gameplay loop in Midnight Suns is the inverse of mine to the Persona series.
Yeah.
Where in Persona, I tolerate the Pokemon-esque combat to get to these social links, romancing characters, spending time in classes, working my part-time job. The daily life sim of Persona is the main appeal. Where Midnight Suns is the reverse. I am tolerating talking to Blade about his book club so that I can get to the awesome card-based combat.
You see, Hunter, you got to get to the chapter 5. That's my Blade.
We're reading The Art of War right now.
Ooh, Sun Tzu. It's a page turner. That's my Blade is Duke Nukem.
It really is. I'm slowly liking the cast as they give me more and more characters. At first, I was doing a bit of eye rolling where the dialogue is very Marvel. It's very quippy.
Oh, yeah.
It came on a little strong at first, but I think now that I'm over those initial impressions, maybe I'm just Stockholm Syndrome habituated to it now.
That's the name of the villain you just spoiled.
Now that I'm 34 hours in, I think I'm growing ever so slightly more endeared.
30?
I'm 34 hours into this
You haven't
game.
beaten it yet?
No, it's apparently lengthy.
Yeah. Because of all those booster packs.
Admittedly, I am doing a lot of side quests, but
A lot of mushrooms. When do you play this game?
when?
Yeah, when?
Every waking moment.
Because like Samantha's, you gotta hang out with her, right?
Sure.
I mean, I watch Bailey play Disney while I cook.
Yeah, this is like a Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday kind of game.
Ay, ay, ay.
Other days are Samantha heavy.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So at its heart, it's a strategic card game. And what impresses me about it was there is fairly low rules overhead. Learning how to play Midnight Suns, not too bad. You get a hand of cards, you play 3 cards, you get to move one of your characters per turn, and you get 2 mulligans every turn. You can redraw a card you don't want, throw it away, and get a new one as a replacement.
Generous.
Pretty generous. So
Which XCOM was that generous?
on a turn-by-turn basis, you're just playing 3 cards and moving a character. You don't have that many decisions to make. And yet, what knocked my socks off was I found myself paralyzed with choice. Not since Into the Breach have I had such lengthy turns where I'm hemming and hawing and sweating about what I should do. Despite its simplicity, the richness of the decisions was palpable to me.
Is there permadeath?
No, not permadeath, but
You're just trying to 3-star every mission.
I'm trying to do well. You get heavily rewarded for completing missions in as few turns as possible. Also, taking a page out of Into the Breach's design book is battle encounters in Midnight Suns. They last 3, 4, maybe 5 turns. They're brief. These are bite-sized missions. They are not long Fire Emblem, Battle of Attrition, slug matches. No. The longest battles you'll do are like boss battles that last maybe 20 minutes. So I like the brevity of the encounters. They just keep me going. They don't wear me out. What also threw me for a loop initially, I was having trouble playing this game well. The card game is somewhat conventional, but the strategic card game of Midnight Suns is layered on top of a game of billiards.
To the audio listener, I'm making every thumbnail face you can imagine. What?
As your superheroes face off against Hydra's forces, they're all on this battlefield, and angles are super important. This is a game about bashing characters off of obstacles in the environment and ricocheting them into other enemies.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I know what you're getting at.
I was kind of surprised with how creative you need to be with lining up shots and making sure you're sending the Hydra grunt into the concealed cloaking Hydra sniper so that when he rams into him, it'll ruin the guy's concealment and now he's a valid target. There's all sorts of little considerations. You need to leverage the environment quite a bit in this game. Like sending people smashing into a electric conduit will stun them for a turn.
Oh.
If you can like crash down a telephone pole, it'll land on potentially multiple enemies, some area of effect. This combat system heavily incentivizes aggression. If you're smart about it and very efficient with your 3 card plays, you can potentially like eliminate 75 of the enemy's forces on like turn 1.
Yeah.
About half of the enemy force will be like single hit point grunts who are just kind of there as cannon fodder. And then there'll be a couple big threats you need to deal with. I haven't played any strategy games with this kind of angle considerations. Nothing quite like it has ever come across my desk.
Paper Mario Origami King.
Oh.
That's angles on a polar.
Yeah, that's like concentric circles.
Yeah, you're just lining up single health point Goombas to go ding, ding, ding.
Maybe that's pretty appropriate.
Yeah.
I haven't played it.
What do you mean? I thought we talked about this.
I've never played a Paper Mario game.
You're Chris Paper Mario Elman.
Maybe someday. Thousand Year Door is getting remade this year.
That's the good one.
That's the good one. Do you have questions for me?
Wow, yeah. Midnight Suns. You're telling me I'll be up until midnight playing this game?
That happened to me once where I lost track of time and
Wow.
suddenly it was 11:45 p.m. I'll say this is one of the games with the most smoothly integrated DLC I've come across. So hats off there. I would just approached my standard mission select desk in the Abbey. And I saw there was a new story mission available where you get to recruit Deadpool. And I was pretty excited about that. Yeah. Got Deadpool on the team.
And Deadpool is like, where's Sid Meier's when you need him?
I wouldn't be surprised if he says that. But lo and behold, turns out that whole Deadpool recruitment mission I did was totally DLC I had purchased. And it was just seamlessly integrated into the flow of the main campaign. Now that Deadpool's on the team, he's there and remarking on all sorts of main story events as if he was always supposed to be there, even though he's bolted on extra content. So hats off on making the DLC feel really cohesive with the main game.
Who's this Lilith?
Yeah.
I don't have any questions. I have an anecdote. I know that the core conflict is boomers versus zoomers. So Midnight Suns are all young and they're zoomers. And the Avengers are older. They're
you're
boomers.
Tony Stark, you're Doctor Strange.
Right. So they're trying to find Venom, who's high on some Venom juice. And Tony's like, I'll hack the satellite. And Black Widow's like, I'll radio the mainframe. And it's like, we can't find him. Try as the Avengers might, all of their resources come up empty. They don't know where Venom is. And then Peter Parker and Midnight Sun just scroll on their phones and look at social media and they go, oh, he's on Broadway in Fifth.
That is a scene in the game.
It's good. I only reason I know that is because it's so good.
The writing does have its moments.
Yeah.
Who's on the Chris's squad?
The Chris's squad.
I think Magic is great. Her portals are a lot of fun to play with. They give you a lot of extra flexibility when you're knocking people around on the battlefield. And Captain Marvel is a great tank. She can go binary, which doubles all of her offensive capabilities. That's excellent. To trigger that binary passive, you need to play 3 of her cards.
So I should play this game before I play Slay the Spire?
Slay the Spire if you want to just get into the nitty-gritty mechanics right away. Midnight Suns if you want a fun Marvel story bolted on top.
I see.
Also, the game is hard to put down. I'm clocking in so many hours because it has that impeccably paced rhythm I really like.
I thought you said the first 6 and 7 minutes were
six to 7 hours.
Glacial pace.
Right. Yeah, I was stuck in traffic for this first 6 hours.
Yeah.
But now that I'm on the highway, you fight your combat encounter, you go back to the Abbey, you get to upgrade your decks, and now you suddenly want to try your new deck upgrades in the next combat encounter. So you just boot up to the next day of the game and do another fight, and then you want to go upgrade your deck again. It was the same thing that kept me glued to Monster Train, where that constant iteration and experimentation, just feedback loop into each other, it was very compelling.
When Tony Stark opens your booster pack, on a scale of 1 to Vampire Survivors Casino dopamine rush, pure oxygen, how much of an addictive quality is it?
If Vampire Survivors is the 10 out of 10 gold standard, it's probably like a 7.
All right.
I like it. Vampire Survivors chests come at you fast and furious compared to the number of booster packs you open in this game. You usually get 1 per combat encounter to open. 2 if you're lucky. And that's Midnight Suns. I have no idea when I'll finish playing this game, but I will be happy to continue playing it. I haven't even unlocked all the main characters yet. Wolverine has refused to join the squad. And there's some BioWare trappings here where your dialogue choices can improve or degrade your relationship with each character on the team.
Oh.
And you get Persona-style buffs with the characters who are your best friends.
Uh-huh.
And there's like there's an analogous system to the Paragon Renegade.
Like if you tell Blade you like your steak well done, does he like you less?
Blade the Vampire? Well done. Oh, yeah. Now I see what you mean. Yeah, you probably get -1 friendship points with Blade.
Good. All right, good.
And there's straight up the Paragon and Renegade system in this game. It's light and dark. You decide how edgy you want to be.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, and there's... I'm just throwing in all these thoughts before we move on. There's a weird amount of The Sims DNA in here.
What?
Where you're playing like dress up with all of the characters.
Okay.
And you're decorating your bedroom. And you're picking what pool swimsuit you want your hunter character to wear.
For the beach episode.
For the beach episode.
And Blade speaks Simlish. Hunter. All right.
All right, I'm done.
All right, back to Heath.
Back to Heath.
Well, I've just you saw it. It's on my screen right now. Dead by Daylight's back in the rotation.
It's been a long time coming.
Friendship with Civ 6 is out. Dead by Daylight is back in.
Nice.
New best friend. And here's the reason it's noteworthy. The only thing that's noteworthy. Two only things that are noteworthy. The UI got updated, right? So they've added 1 billion different killers since we spoke about it last.
Nick Cage?
Well, he's a survivor. He's not a
okay.
killer. He's only a killer on the silver screen, am I right? So new perks and stuff, it changes the meta ever so slightly. The UI difference tells me what my teammates are doing on the other side of the map that I can't see and how far along they are in working on the generator, healing a teammate. I can see the progress. I know not to work on this ice cold generator that has like, I got to sit at it for like 90 seconds to pop it. When I know that my teammate has a Jenny over here that's like 75%, I'm going to start rushing to the exit gate to power that up as soon as he pops his.
That seems like a generous helping of extra information.
I thought it would be like a perk that would need to be slotted. But it don't. It's just UI.
Does the killer benefit from any kind of extra UI help?
No, the killer benefits from just perks that you slot in. Every time you wound a blank, the survivor's auras are revealed to you for blank seconds. Every time you hook a survivor, blank is revealed to you for blank seconds. Yeah, there's so many perks in this game. And I'm the kind of sicko that will watch 10 times as much streamer content of DBD than I will log in playing hours.
Sure.
So I know Otsdarva will post, which is the rarest perk. It'll be like, oh, in 2023, this perk was used in 0.008% of games. And then I'll know to avoid that on the upgrade tree. And then the other single noteworthy thing to mention is I'm playing on keyboard and mouse.
Which is different or the same?
Buddy, what are we talking? Trying to play a competitive video game, a competitive multiplayer video game with a Xbox controller is like trying to win the Olympics training with only calisthenics. It's probably possible, but if you're just doing dips on your local jungle gym, you're going to get lapped. So a keyboard and mouse in comparison is like the best, think Rocky IV athletic training. It's steroids. It's steroids. I'm taking steroids.
It's not a shooter, so I didn't know that level of precision was that beneficial.
Oh, it's vital. If
Okay.
you're in a chase, if the killer is 50 feet away from you and you're on a keyboard and mouse, you stand a much greater chance of making that window. Just watch me, bro.
Okay.
Yeah. That's Dead by Daylight. I'll take any questions.
With those game-wide UI updates, have people who main killers been like complaining that it's ever so slightly harder for them now?
No. If they have, I haven't heard it. The killers are just complaining now that maps aren't bad. You can use an expendable to boost the chance of going to a map that favors the survivors, right? If you're a survivor, you want to go to the farm because in an Otsdarva video, it was revealed that 60% of survivors that go to the farm survive the ordeal. That's what the killers are complaining about. They're like, these maps are unbalanced. Every time I go to blank, it's a lot more work to try to kill all 4 of them. There's updates happening. I'm sure the Blight mains are upset that 0.2 seconds was shaved off of their main ability. Sorry, I know just enough to pretend I know what I'm talking about, but not nearly enough to speak with authority. My New Year's resolution, aside from learning Spanish, is to get good enough in Dead by Daylight that it becomes a sports game.
Oh, okay.
I just want to style on them and get over my fear of, oh God, the killer is right there. Oh God. Like, I will fail skill checks at the sight of, not even the sight, just if I hear the terror radius of a killer upstairs above me and I'm working on a generator in the basement, I'm like that gif of Hannibal Buress on the Eric Andre show, just sweating in my chair. There's more things to work on than I can count on one hand before I become a big chin varsity athlete of a survivor.
Got to get your head in the game.
That's Dead by Daylight.
Excellent.
I'll be taking questions in the parking lot.
Very cool. Well, that's everything we've been playing in January so far. How about we take a break and come back with some discussions and some New Year's resolutions to talk about. See you then.
I wonder if we're back or not.
And we're back.
Woo!
Heath, it's New Year, January. Time for us to both address our resolutions of 2023 and look to the future and 2024.
I'm trying to get carpal tunnel. Or no, that's wrong. Didn't carpal tunnel get debunked and now it's RSI?
I am out of the loop on
Come on.
any of those joint-related matters.
Is it RSV? Yeah, repetitive strain injury.
Okay.
Don't use carpal tunnel. I think it's banned.
Okay.
I think our podcast might be blacklisted because I uttered the CP word.
Carpal tunnel's
I
canceled.
meant to say T. That's right.
Well.
Go, Chris. Go.
All right. Let's see how Chris did.
How Chris did?
Yeah. For 2023, I had 3 specific New Year's resolutions.
Oh, yeah. No, you crushed it.
Let's say I did pretty well.
There's no other game. I'm just typing in games from 2019.
A valiant effort for sure. My overarching goal for 2023 was to hit credits on 25 video games. And guess what, Heath? On December 31st, the morning of, Samantha and I finished A Way Out that day, marking my 25th game I finished in 2023. Right on the finish line.
Oh my God.
I was going, no asterisks, no needing to play fast and loose with the rules. I crushed it. I did it. I was going to say, I played a lot of DLC this year with Prey Moon Crash and all the Doom Eternal DLC.
That's the kind of excuses I would make.
I was going to lump those all in as my 25th game, but I don't even need to do that.
Did you mention Golden Idol?
I played Golden Idols DLC as well.
Yeah, that counts. Yeah.
So, yes, I did my main goal for 2023. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I also said I was going to clean up my 2019 specific backlog.
Yeah, I'm looking at them.
I did a pretty good job.
Yeah.
Death Stranding, knocked it out. Sekiro, finished it.
Resident Evil 2.
Resident Evil 2 Remake, knocked it off the to-do list.
Control.
That was the year prior, actually.
Oh, okay.
I also did some smaller ones like Untitled Goose Game and What the Golf.
Baba Is You is also 2019.
But I have not finished Baba Is You.
No one has.
There was one big omission because when I set that resolution to finish my 2019 game backlog, I did name drop The Outer Worlds as a goal.
Yeah.
I started The Outer Worlds, but quickly bounced off of it. So that was the only asterisk there. Maybe I will atone for that by giving it a second chance in 2024.
By playing Shenmue 3.
Are those 2 games related somehow?
No. Shenmue 3 is just the worst game I could suggest.
Oh, for my atonement.
Right, yeah.
And then lastly, I set a goal in 2023 to finish a Yakuza game, and I came up short.
Oh.
I actually did start
That's your bread and butter.
Yakuza 3 Remastered over the summer, and I was enjoying it. I got about 10 hours in. I never talked about it on the show. I got derailed by Sekiro. That game just demanded so much laser focus that Yakuza got put on the back burner, and then I never got back to it. Once again, I will atone for my sins. In 2024, this will be the year I finish Yakuza 3. So overall, just a couple little misses.
Wait, when we say Yakuza 3, am I thinking of the right Yakuza?
The third Yakuza game?
Yeah, it's like old as dirt, right?
It is pretty old.
Okay.
Yeah, it has not been remade. Just got a resolution
like
bump
half
remaster.
of the other Yakuza games.
Right.
Okay.
It's a PS3 game. I think it looked surprisingly good for its age. Cool. Heath, How did you fare in your 2023 resolutions?
I successfully played enough games to fill a whole top 10 list. Was my resolution for 2023. The audio listener is already familiar with my achievements, and so I need not mention them.
I'm sorry, Heath. I did my homework.
Oh,
that was
no.
not your resolution for 2023.
Oh,
This is where you get your comeuppance.
I said things and they come back to bite me. This is a first.
Yeah, unfortunately, we've been recording this whole time. Heath, good news. You finished 40% of your resolution
Okay, good.
for
All right.
2023.
Hey, that's, yeah.
You said you'd hit credits on the following games. Mass Effect 2,
I did that.
credits.
Yes.
Mass Effect 3, credits. And then you missed the rest of them, which unfortunately were The Witcher 3, Prey, and Dishonored 2. But I'm not done putting you on blast quite yet. Heath, how many years would you guess you made your resolution to finish The Witcher 3? I have an answer for you.
Okay. 2?
You think you've made that your resolution for 2 years?
Yeah, like COVID era.
Earlier today, I went back and listened to our end of year episodes, all of them. Okay. Let me take you back to the year 2019, where after losing our Game Awards predictions bet in 2019, you had The Witcher 3 assigned to you to be completed in 2020 as consequences.
Okay, but nothing counts in 2020 because COVID.
COVID, if anything, gave you more time.
If anything, it afforded you.
All right. Fast forward 1 year. It's now the end of 2020. We're setting our 2021 resolutions in episode 57.
Right.
Heath, you assure me 2021 is going to be the year you play The Witcher 3.
On my great grandmother, I will beat Witcher 3.
You were outlining your 2021 schedule, and you said, I quote, "The first thing is Witcher, don't you worry."
Oh my God.
That did not happen. Fast forward to the end of 2021. We're now setting our resolutions for 2022.
Yeah.
Once again, you redoubled down. Witcher 3, it's happening. See you in 2022.
Oh my God.
And then, as we just said, you said once again the same thing in 2023. Heath, have you finished The Witcher 3?
Okay, I installed the update that improves the combat system.
There were some more updates. Yeah, that's true.
The 4.0 update? Yeah.
That came out last year, I believe.
Yeah, I installed it.
You installed it. Heath, I'm starting to think you don't take these New Year's resolutions very seriously.
No, Chris, what are you talking about? I am nothing if not, I'm going to filibuster this accusation.
I'm done having my fun, Heath. Do you have any resolutions, any somewhat serious resolutions for 2024? And if you want to take the coward's way out, you can say no.
No, we're gonna beat Witcher 3 this year. Rest assured.
I was teeing you up for that.
Yeah, 2024 is the year.
Audio listeners, he took the bait.
I need it. And then, my Dead by Daylight aside, maybe Heath gets a new PC aside. We're just staying the course. The trouble with me, Chris, is Heath in a vacuum does not play video games the way an archaeologist discovers fossils. If an archaeologist discovers the best fossil, it's a T-Rex and it's intact and it's really good. They don't just sit there and dust it off every so often. They go and look for another fossil. Heath wants to take his dig finding and just work on that. I love my 4X games. Frostpunk 2 is going to come out. That's going to suck up 200 hours this year. Dead by Daylight is itching my Assassin's Creed Brotherhood multiplayer nostalgia from when I was prepubescent. I have my wishes. Batman Arkham, that's dead. That's not coming back.
Okay.
But I have the games I like. And if I were in a vacuum, I would stick to those games. But then because I have this show, I gotta do Subnautica and all these other bogus games by developers.
You're saying your game playing schedule is not super predictable, much like you can't guarantee you're going to find a fossil that captures your interest.
Except for the fossil that represents Witcher 3. I will not put this shovel down until I find it.
Well, I'm skeptical, but I'm glad to hear it.
Hooray.
I only have 2 resolutions this year. The big overarching one is similar to last year. but I have changed the success metric. Last year, I said I want to finish 25 games, and lo and behold, it took me until the last day of 2023, but I did.
Yeah.
This year, I was looking at what I anticipate playing, and I'm seeing some big, meaty games on the docket. Midnight Suns, who knows how many hours that will take.
Yeah.
I want to play a similar amount of games this year, but the success metric will be hours played, not games completed. Last year, I tallied it up. I think I played video games for about 615 hours.
Okay.
This year, the big goal for the year is to play 625 hours of video games.
Ooh.
Who cares how many games I complete? It's just pure hour count that matters. That way I can justify sinking 100 hours on Cyberpunk if that's what I care to do. Cool. So that's the big goal.
Conversely, Heath's success metric will be he only has to play the game until he has a bowel movement, and then that one will have checked that box.
Will there be a way to
verify
stool? Will there be a reset method? Like, what if that's not a consistent measure of time per game?
I know.
Okay.
I know. What if I have to? If I open up Catherine, and then Bailey walks in the room, I suddenly gotta take a dump.
You chug laxatives.
Yeah.
My only other goal for the year is, in an effort to maybe put extra focus on clearing the backlog of games I already own and putting less emphasis on buying new games. By the end of the year, I want to have finished 12 games or DLCs I already purchased at the start of the year.
Pre-2024.
Pre-2024, things that were already in my library.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try to do a dozen games that were already existing in Chris's library.
Ooh.
To kind of have a healthy balance of old games and new shiny things I might buy.
And one of those in your library is Love Is All Around.
That's right. That would count. Thanks to Janice.
That would count.
And there you have it. Those are my New Year's resolutions for games in 2024. Heath, that brings us to a discussion topic.
All right. Everybody fix your posture. It's going to get discussed.
Yes. It's just a fun thing to talk about.
Speak for yourself.
Okay, Heath is deathly serious when we come to talking about our gaming pet peeves. These are the things related to playing video games that grind our gears.
Didn't we already talk about this?
Or annoy us. Did we?
Asynchronous?
That was my language pet peeves.
Yeah.
But no, we're here to talk about video games. I came up with, I'm sure there are many things that could annoy someone about playing a video game.
Loading screens.
Yeah, they're the bane of my existence. But I came up with 5 things that I think were pretty specific to Chris.
Okay.
What did you? How many?
I'll come up with 5.
We can alternate.
Starting with you.
Starting with me. You don't see this happen too much these days, thankfully. But whenever a game comes along that you are unable to remap button controls,
ooh,
that's a Chris pet peeve right there.
Yeah, it is.
I think back to the 2 instances where this was most prominent last year. Sekiro, thank goodness, lets you button remap.
Thanks, From Software.
I have one finger on my left hand that has ever so slightly less range of motion than you might expect. And the main verb in Sekiro, deflect. The deflect button is by default the left bumper, and that did not agree with my left hand. So thankfully, I could put it on the left trigger, and that saved the game for me. So thanks, Sekiro. That's just one I wanted to highlight, how this handy accessibility feature is so trivial to implement, but it can make a really big difference to your enjoyment playing a game. Who I wanted to put on blast, or the game I wanted to throw some derision at, was Ori and the Will of the Wisps last year.
What a bunch of suckers.
No button remapping.
Is this the Stone Age?
I wanted to change up where Dash was located, and I had to go to Steam's universal control overlay.
Oh, yeah.
And here's, I guess, the addendum to my number 1 pet peeve. This is 1B. Steam's control overlay, where you remap universal buttons, it sucks. It's busted.
Steam's overlay is busted?
Steam.
Oh.
Yeah, Valve, they're usually so good, but in this instance, they left me hanging. It was very cumbersome. And yeah, I had to deal with it I spent upwards of 30 minutes wrestling with Steam's button remapping universal controls. But yeah, that was my number one. But in remapping, you've got to include it in 2024 going forward. Needs to be there.
All right, I was hoping to find a sexier one than this, but UI scaling. Chris, judge the distance between the couch and the TV.
Looks like
15 feet.
Oh, I was going to say 10 feet.
100 feet? Yeah. And for that reason, the text when you're playing Civ 6 is microscopic.
Sure.
So I went to the general settings to try to find UI scaling, and I found none.
Really?
So I had to open like a TXT file.
Okay.
And it changed the number to 0.4 for a 40% boost.
You got nitty gritty with it.
I would even go higher than 40% for legibility purposes, but then text runoff starts to happen.
Okay.
And even then, the scaling breaks some of the UI in Civ 6. Like, I can't tell how much money I have unless I get through all of these notifications. That's the only crime that Sid Meier has committed against me and my family. But he is, in exchange, giving me thousands of hours of entertainment. So
I'm surprised such a PC-focused game doesn't have UI scaling. That's a big omission.
If it does, it's got to be locked under like some windowed thing or something crazy.
Okay.
No, trust me, bro. It doesn't.
I believe you.
Next, go.
Yeah, your one actually segues beautifully into my number two.
Oh, that's by design.
Yeah, it's all orchestrated.
Folks, if you're just joining us, which should be silly because you're in the middle of the episode, we had our very first technical loss on the show. As you just heard, it started to get all snap, crackle, pop, didn't it, Chris?
It sure did, Heath.
And that was not due to a frayed cable or a solar flare. I have no idea what caused it, and it's not happening to us right now.
Probably worth double checking.
Well, because the waveforms would be different. I did test a bunch.
Cool.
So we're gonna pick up the conversation right away.
Yeah, we're back 1 week later to save the end of this episode. We were discussing gaming pet peeves, and I think we threw it over to my second one. Heath, when it comes to playing video games, I think you and I both are pretty platform agnostic. We play on the Switch, we play on our PCs. Sometimes I even dust off the old PlayStation 4. But my preferred platform is the PC. And there's one reason when it comes to the console wars, the platform arguments, when people dismiss the PC outright because of this stated reason, it just grinds my gears. That being, I could never play video games on a PC because I like that console, living room, big TV gaming experience from the couch. To which I say, oh, I must have been mistaken. This past year and a half, I could have sworn I was using my PC to play all of my games from the comfort of my couch in my living room.
How can that be?
How silly of me. No, it's totally not mutually exclusive. It's like the people refuse to acknowledge PCs have the exact same HDMI port a console would use. You just plug it into your PC instead, and you're off to the races. Maybe if you wanted to play like a Paradox-style strategy game where even your menu tooltips have tooltips, that's probably more appropriate for your desk. But if you're playing console-style AAA games like me, your Spider-Man Miles Morales', your Final Fantasy VII Remake, I'm playing those on my PC from my couch onto the big screen. That argument, it just never resonated with me. The PC and the living room are not two mutually exclusive domains.
What would it take for it to resonate with you if PCs were, whose law is it that computer chip sizes are going to shrink?
Yes.
Or they'll double in capacity infinitely.
I'm getting dunked on.
Bohr's law? No.
As a computer
that's
science guy, I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think it's like Dohr's law.
It might be Moore's law.
Yeah, Moore's law. That's it. I guess if PCs became even more unsightly, and if your living room really needs to be on the page of Home Designers Weekly, then a console is kind of your only choice.
Oh, you're saying
I'm trying to devil's advocate again.
You're trying to we're repeating this conversation. Having a computer in your living room could be a potential eyesore. My computer is rooms away. You just need a long HDMI cable. And then you're off to the races. You set that bad boy up once and then the upkeep. Never have to worry about it ever again. Yeah, I mean, even if you have to invest in a 50-foot HDMI cable, like I have, that's way cheaper than buying an entire extra supplemental console to live side by side with your computer, fulfilling the same role. Anyway, don't point any holes in my argument. I'm not going to be swayed.
Said every debate lord ever.
Heath, why don't you tell us about your second pet peeve?
I forgot what it was.
Was it you've had a week.
Was it the what do you mean I had a week? I realized this like Thursday.
Oh, okay.
Was it the inscription thing? How Casey's mod deleted the fresh blank slate start that I wanted?
What would you call? Is that just a bone to pick you have with inscription? There's no greater trend there.
I want. You say that, but like Fortnite too. If you play Fortnite for the first time, it automatically where we drop in, boys. Sky falls you from a bus. Sky jump. What's it called when you get really high and then you fall to the ground?
Skydiving.
Skydiving. Fuck me. Yeah.
That was harder to remember than Moore's Law.
Yeah. Yes. It automatically skydives you in a match with bots, right? And you can play Fortnite your first go at it. You never get to do that, experience that again.
You quickly get out of the bot pool.
Right, because not even the bot pool, but like you can like join a lobby and it's like the generic experience. But as far as like that cinematic opener, Fortnite Inscription, I could probably think of another one. Maybe like the Total War games jump you right into like a battle the first time you boot.
Okay, so you're saying the new player tutorial experience has been removed.
And I think, this would be a great game to share with insert person in my life. And I can't revisit that unless I buy another copy on a separate system.
Act surprised as I once again say, Heath, I would bet you money that I could figure out a way to clear your save data.
I would take that bet.
I think it had to be the Steam cloud saves messing with you, where surely you can start fresh without buying a second copy.
I did do that last Halloween. I think last. That's that pet peeve.
Okay, that's that pet peeve. My third one I had jotted down was my current era of video game controller woes, where they're not quite making a controller that fits all of my preferences. So I'm a offset analog sticks kind of guy. That's the Xbox controllers, because the PlayStation ones are like symmetrical. But I want that thumb offset that only Microsoft can provide me.
When you put the shock in DualShock, when that thing hits your palms, you're like, what is this?
So Xbox has been my preferred controller since the 360 days.
Is the Wii U gamepad offset? I think it is.
I don't think so. I think they're parallel. Why don't you fact check me?
Gamepad. Queue up any... Yeah, they're parallel.
Yes.
Darn.
Yes.
Queue up any like Fisher-Price Leap Start controller with offset sticks, and Chris will take that over a DualSense any day.
So the new generation of Xbox consoles arrived in 2020, the Xbox Series X and S, and I've got some hands-on with their controller, which is just a very subtle redesign. And yet, despite how similar it is, it's like cancer to me. I can't deal with their new controllers.
Guys.
They're just ever so slightly smaller, and the Achilles heel for me is the triggers are like especially smaller. The left and right trigger on the Xbox Series controller, I feel like my fingers are at risk of falling off at all times. It just gives me constant anxiety. So that's a no-go for me. It ruins the experience. So now I'm locked into Xbox One controllers, which are discontinued. They don't get made anymore. They're increasingly hard to find unless you're buying them used, but that's gross. I don't want someone's secondhand controller. So my preference is this dying hardware SKU that is becoming harder to find. I thought, okay, what if surely every problem under the sun can be solved with money. What if I throw money at the problem? I could get an Xbox Elite controller, which has the same form factor as the Xbox One controller. So it would suit me just fine, except this more expensive Xbox controller, the Elite one, has these rubberized grips, which make my palms sweaty. I just can't win with Xbox right now. Their current products don't agree with me.
It's not a rubberized grip. It's the material that makes the controller's surface is rubber. When you say grips, it makes me think of like the sine wave underside of like a bicycle handle.
Oh, okay.
It's not a grip. It's just like the sweat has nowhere to go.
Yeah, it's just going right into the rubber. I don't know, like it's there to add more friction to keep the controller in your hand.
Yeah.
But who's losing their grip on their controller?
If you're at the CSGO tournament and the groupies come in for a selfie while you're queuing up in the lobby, you should be able to hold the controller with one hand as you reach around both shoulders of the honeys for the pick.
Without dropping it.
You don't want to be if you're holding a different controller and then you're so sweaty and then you drop it as you go as one of their shoulders nicks your buttons.
Your photo op is ruined.
Right.
Yeah.
And they confiscate your pro card.
Yeah. So my third pet peeve was just Microsoft's very small tweaks to the Xbox controller design, which make it nigh unusable for me.
Chris.
I need to wait for Microsoft to launch a new console to hopefully like their new controllers better. Rough.
You delicate flower. Heath's third pet peeve remains the Medieval 2 Total War flavor text lack of R&D. Chris, the what's like the preservationist group that tries to get every copy of a video game magazine?
Oh. Like digitized on the internet somewhere?
It's not Brandon Sheffield. Or Michael Kerwin. Who are those guys that are all into that type of media preservation? Anyway, no one has bothered to put online in easily searchable form the fun like single sentence or two that appears next to your cursor as you hover over the piety of your king or the attractiveness of your princess in that Warhammer game. Not Warhammer. What am I trying to say?
Total War Medieval 2 from 2006.
Yeah, it was a banger.
Okay, you had it on disc.
Yes, and in retrospect, people still will reach for that game alongside, I think, Rome.
Yeah, Rome is a perennial game.
Yeah,
in that series.
Then if that's perennial, this one is centennial because I love that flavor text. It was so funny. It would. Because I was so young, so I was like, I don't even know what the word subterfuge means. But if I moused over my spy and he had a high enough rank, and I just leave my cursor there, it would be like, oh, he could steal bread from a toaster. I'd be like, I was like, got it. And then I try to search these up. You can't find it on the wikis that I found that are half in English, half in Japanese, katakana. It'll do a detailed breakdown of the units, the armies, the factions, the traits. So your ruler can have like a trait, right? Mm-hmm. Let's say it's
like a randomly assigned trait.
Yeah, let's say your trait, like Crusader Kings 3. Crusader Kings, is that the game?
Yeah. That's Paradox game.
Your ruler might be a drinker, and that'll be a -1 command, but +1 camaraderie. But it doesn't tell me what your command stat contextually means.
Sure.
And I want that. There's every other aspect of that game searchable except for the flavor text.
So is this complaint more directed at the development team, Creative Assembly, for failing to make that readily available, or the lazy fans who haven't fleshed out the wiki thoroughly enough so that you can read it there?
If you're going to put the effort into writing the text, make it so I don't have to play through the entire game to read it all.
Okay.
That's so. It's to answer your question. It's not directed at Creative Assembly. It's directed at everybody. Just like if you ever do anything worthwhile, make it so I can find it readily.
The other,
Except for the song that nobody knows. That one will remain esoteric.
the other way to solve this issue was they just needed lamer flavor text.
Right. That it was just like he give directions good to soldier. Allow me.
All right. My fourth video game related pet peeve is just those once in a blue moon rare games that somehow slip through the cracks and never find their way to getting a PC port. The hallmark example I immediately think of.
Until Dawn.
Cast your mind back to Mobius Tube's episode 2, where you and I were going over our favorite announcements from 2018's The Game Awards. Young, 5 years younger Chris, he was so...
Prepubescent.
Yeah.
What?
Sorry, you caught me off guard there. That younger version of Chris, he was so bright-eyed and bushy-tailed to get his hands on the remaster of Crash Team Racing. Crash Team Racing Nitro-fueled, this hot new release coming in 2019 from Activision. And the game released but on all the consoles at the time, but somehow, for some inexplicable reason, did not arrive on PC storefronts. And it's
Weird.
just never materialized. No real reason. It's not like it had a publishing deal with a console manufacturer for exclusivity. It's from Activision, like the third-party publisher who puts their games on everything. And that one just never arrived. Even when the Crash platforming game remasters did, when the Spyro remasters came to PC, all the other games in this line releasing around the same time all found their way to Steam promptly, except for this one, which is a shame because that was a beloved game of Chris's childhood. But there's other games that get me grimacing that somehow have not found their way to PC. Sony, they've been doing a good job bringing their first-party titles to PC, with the exception of Ghost of Tsushima.
Oh.
Give me my Japanese samurai game, Ghost of Tsushima, which came out in 2020. And if you look at all the games Sony's been porting,
I do.
They've got 2017's Horizon Zero Dawn, made it to PC. 2018's God of War on PC. 2018's Spider-Man on PC. 2019's even something as obscure as Days Gone on PC. Then we just like missed 2020 for some reason, and all their 2021 releases and onwards, like Returnal, they're on PC too. We just like, there's this one gap called Ghost of Tsushima, and I don't know what happened to it. But yeah.
Conversely, Days Dawn, which you almost said, is a LGBT horror game where you have to survive the night against a heterosexual killer.
Days Gone. Maybe that's their next. That'll be the sequel.
I'm looking forward to it not being on PC. Or no, that would end up on PC before your Ghosts of Tsushima.
Before my beloved Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah.
Anyway, that was my number 4. Those games that, for whatever reason, never make their way to the PC.
My next pet peeve is... I forgot the other one, so I'm just going to make one up.
Yeah, that's never stopped you before.
Pokemon Sleep. It makes noise, even on silent. On my phone, if I set it to vibrate, right? No sound. And I tell it to go to sleep because Bailey's already knocked out. She has to get up in the morning. It'll make a notification type sound.
Sure.
As I'm laying my Snorlax down for a nap.
It ignores your phone operating level setting preference.
It goes, Bring! And I'm like, this is the one game where that can't happen.
Yeah. It has like admin level permissions on your phone.
I would rather every game have... You remember how Marvel Snap's sound settings change the music level output as you're adjusting it?
Yeah, so you told me.
Yeah.
In the menu.
I would live with that for every copy of a game ever, so long as I could guarantee that off means off. There you go. That was that one.
Well done, Heath. Well done. I only have one left.
Let's hear it.
You know the website Humble Bundle?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's responsible for my Steam library having more than 700 games in it. It's the website I love to shop at.
You've played 25%?
It's probably around there.
Yeah?
Yeah, somewhere in that ballpark. But Humble Bundle giveth and it taketh away. So my fifth gaming-related pet peeve is just narrowly missed Humble Bundle deals. This website offers the best deals in PC gaming where you pay a handful of dollars and get a whole smorgasbord of games. Often one or two or three you really want and then some chaff to fill in the rest of the bundle. Oof. But it's a great deal because you're getting so many games at bargain bin prices. It's actually given me, my own purchasing habits, a certain level of anxiety behind it.
What?
Where I will put off directly buying the games I'm most excited for because I'll just get the gut feeling that feels like a Humble Bundle game.
Right around the corner.
Right around the corner, surely it's going to be bundled.
Subnautica is going to get bundled.
A month or two away. And I recently, this made the list because I recently got burned by it.
I forgot which one you said.
The day after I purchased Midnight Suns, it was bundled for January. Literally off by 24 hours. Could have saved some money there.
Yeah, but what was the chaff that it was bundled with? Like Marvel versus Capcom 3?
I guess the silver lining is there wasn't very much else in that bundle I would have liked. Yeah. Maybe one game called Rogue Book, a little bit like Slay the Spire knockoff. But
it's exactly the same game as Rogue Warrior, but it's Mickey Rourke just reading you a bedtime story.
Yeah, I think
Humble Bundle.
I similarly narrowly missed a Death Stranding bundle when I was playing that game a year ago. It's infrequent, but whenever I miss out by just mere days or weeks on one of those deals, it lives rent-free in my memory for the rest of time.
Hey, I got another one.
Nice.
Was I at 5 yet before, or is this my fifth?
I think we need one more.
Okay. You said Humble Bundle giveth, Humble Bundle taketh away.
Yes.
Let's talk about all the games that got taken away.
Oh.
Mario All-Stars 30th Anniversary Collection.
Oh, that's a good call, Heath.
I can't buy that now.
For no reason.
PT.
Yes.
I can't buy that now. I couldn't before because I've never owned a Sony console.
And yeah, that game was free.
And I can't even buy it.
Now you can't even give them money for it.
Yeah. I have a Mac. I have Steam on my Mac, and I can't play Portal on it because Portal was 32-bit, right? Or a lot, like half of my Steam library was inaccessible on this machine. It's right in front of me.
Yes.
Because the game is 32-bit. Or this machine's 32-bit and the games are 64.
Incompatible with your operating system is the issue.
Right. And I have an up-to-date operating system.
That's no good.
Did I ever tell you that?
Fill me in.
Oh, I will. As soon as I boot Steam.
Isn't that just, for some of those examples you cited, that's just a symptom of many PC games not playing nice with Apple's ecosystem?
No. I previously was able to play Portal on this machine.
You've had functionality taken away.
And then when I went, yes, and then it's got this little gray circle with an X next to it. Your current macOS version is unable to run 32-bit games. This game will not run.
Wow.
Yeah, that happened to Portal, Surgeon Simulator, The Walking Dead, XCOM. I can't play XCOM on this anymore. I used to, back in 2016.
That's scuffed.
Amnesia, Gary's Mod, Nidhogg. I can't play Nidhogg on this anymore.
That's a game you want for a portable laptop.
Yeah. That's an actual pet peeve.
Do we lay that blame at the feet of Apple, or Steam in
that's
that
Apple
case?
That's Apple for eliminating backwards compatibility with the 32 things.
Okay.
At the time I bought them, I could play them on this thing.
Yeah.
This was the machine I bought them on.
Well, I won't pass up any opportunity to dunk on Apple.
But they... Chris, watch what you say. Our recording might shit the bed again.
No.
Because It's on an Apple machine.
We weren't playing nice last week.
Hey, that was a good one.
Hey, that was good. That was our second iteration of that segment.
With twice the energy.
Yes, I'm more dialed in than ever. So we just need to close out this podcast, Heath.
Thank you for listening. This was Mobius Tubes, and it will continue to be Mobius Tubes with episode 99.
Yes, coming to a streaming service near you.
And if you want to be on episode 99, just come to my address.
Or send us an email.
Oh, yeah, that's better.
At mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
That's mobiustubespodcast@gmail.com.
Oh, here, I'll sneak in one extra bonus tidbit just to take advantage of this extra week we've had, Heath. What have you heard about the hot new Steam game, Palworld?
Oh, that
has released in early access since we last spoke.
Why was that on my recommended?
Because it's blowing up. It's like shattered concurrent player records.
Ooh, audio listener. Wait, repeat what you tried to say?
Oh, it's shattered Steam concurrent player records.
Oh, okay. Whatever, yeah. Audio listener, it is like fake Pokemon.
It's so bad.
I'm looking at Piplup, the legendary guy with the red flame head, Electabuzz, Altaria, like half of these are unequivocal ripoffs.
It's edgy Pokemon because they're just carrying around automatic weapons.
Oh, I have heard of this.
And in the description of the game, it's like, oh, send your pocket pals to the factories on the assembly line to manufacture arms and weapons. Granted, it has higher production values than anything Game Freak has ever released, but it just seems like edgy Pokemon meme bait for all the Zoomers to buy.
Action adventure survival game. Oh, so it's like Ark Survive.
Maybe playing in that space, yeah.
Okay.
I don't know what to make of it.
Up to 32 players on one server.
It looks egregious to me.
Could be fun.
And you'll see it topping our lists at the end of the year.
Even the Wikipedia article says it earned the nickname Pokemon with Guns.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
That's the elevator pitch.
It's free to play?
I don't think so.
I won't touch this if it's not. Palworld sold over 1 million copies in the first 8 hours of early access.
Yeah, it's blowing
2
up.
days ago.
I don't think I'd touch it even if they were paying me.
Technology tree allows players to craft new weapons. It's too cringe.
It's too cringe.
All right.
There we go. I'm so glad to hear we're in agreement on this.
Chris, now's your chance to end the episode.
All right. That'll do it. Thanks for recording a pickup with me, Heath, and thanks for listening, everybody. We'll catch you next time.
I was going to say, anytime, Chris. Thank you for helping me.
No, it's back.
All right, it's back.